Have you ever heard of baking soda? Baking soda is a leavening agent. That means it releases a gas called carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide causes things to expand or rise. That's why baking soda is used in a lot of baking, for treats like cakes, cookies, and pancakes. You can use baking soda for many things, like fun, fizzy experiments and making baking soda clay. That's what we'll be doing today. There's even a National Baking Soda Day. It's on December 30th. Hi, and welcome to the Fizzy Fun edition of Crafty Science. Today, we're going to be using baking soda for a couple of experiments. Baking soda is also known as sodium bicarbonate. That means it's a type of crystalline salt. Baking soda is known as a leavening agent. That means when it's added to certain ingredients, it releases a gas called carbon dioxide. And that's the gas that we breathe out. Baking soda comes in containers that look like this, and it can be found in any grocery store. So this is a really fun and simple experiment to do, and you can find. So let's get started with our Fizzy Fun experiments. For our first experiment, of course, we're going to use baking soda. We're going to start with 2 cups of baking soda. We're going to use 1 cup of cornstarch and 1.5 cups water. As I mentioned, when you add baking soda to certain ingredients, it causes a chemical reaction. When we combine these 3 ingredients, we're going to make a baking soda clay. And then we're going to make a craft using the baking soda clay. To create your baking soda clay, measure 1 cup of cornstarch, 2 cups of baking soda, 1.5 cups of water, and stir all 3 together in a non-stick pot. Heat it over low or medium heat for a few minutes. The mixture will change from a soft paste to a mixture that looks almost like mashed potatoes. Once you let the mixture cool, your baking soda clay is ready to use. I have a small saucepan here. I'm going to put 1.5 cups water in the saucepan. Then I'm going to measure 1 cup of cornstarch. Then I'm going to add 2 cups of baking soda. One of these boxes is 2 cups of baking soda. I'm going to warm this over low or medium heat, and it's going to form a type of paste. You'll know it's ready when the mixture has the consistency of mashed potatoes. I poured the mixture onto a parchment paper. The next step is to make shapes using a cookie cutter. Baking soda is also called sodium bicarbonate. It's a type of crystalline salt made up of carbon, sodium, hydrogen, and oxygen. When it's added to certain ingredients, it causes a chemical reaction. Baking soda is a leavening agent. That means it releases gas. This gas is carbon dioxide, the same gas that we breathe out. The clay is leavened because of the baking soda. As the clay dries, it hardens and begins to look like porcelain. This is because the gas, the carbon dioxide, has been exhausted or completely used up. Looks like my baking soda clay creations are set and they're ready to paint. They're very delicate, so you have to make sure that they're fully set before you handle them. A couple of my pieces broke because I tried to pick them up before they were ready. This one I glued together, but you have to make sure that they're fully set before you try to handle them. I have some acrylic paint, paintbrushes, and a stamp set. So now I'm going to decorate my baking soda clay creations. So now we're outside and we're going to do part 2 of our baking soda fizzy fun. For our rainbow baking soda experiment, we will need baking soda, white vinegar, small paper cups, food coloring, fruit, which is optional, and colored candies, which are optional. For this part of the experiment, we're going to need 5 paper cups, a stirrer, food coloring, baking soda of course, white vinegar, and any kind of fruit you like. I'm going to use apples. To create some fizzy fun, fill several paper cups with baking soda, about a half or 3/4 of the way up. Add a few drops of food coloring into each cup and mix. If you don't have food coloring, you can add colored candies like Skittles to each cup. Next, pour some vinegar into each cup and watch the mixture explode into a rainbow of colors. You can also use fruit instead of a cup. Simply cut a hole into the fruit, such as an apple or a watermelon. Add baking soda and food coloring, and pour vinegar into the fruit to create a fizzy fruit rainbow. We're going to start by filling the paper cups 3/4 full with baking soda. Next, I'm going to put a few drops of food coloring into each of the cups. I'm going to make a few color combinations, so I'm going to mix blue and red to make purple. And I'll mix yellow and green. This is what our cups look like. They're about 3/4 full with baking soda. And I just put a few drops of food coloring into each cup. Now I'm going to take a stir and just mix the food coloring into the baking soda. All of our cups are ready. The apples are also ready. This one has blue food coloring and this one has red. Now let's see what happens when we pour vinegar into each of the cups. How does the rainbow baking soda experiment work? Baking soda is a base, and vinegar is an acid. There are two related groups of chemicals that have many important uses. The reactions between acids and bases can be quite strong. One result is that they can quickly produce gases. When baking soda is mixed with an acid and a liquid, bubbles of carbon dioxide gas are created. The carbon dioxide is released in the form of bubbles. If you combine baking soda and vinegar in a small container, it can even cause a mini explosion. Here are some resources with information about acids and bases and baking soda. These can be found on the library's database resources.